My name is Bieke Depoorter. I'm a visual artist and photographer. I'm a member of Magnum Photos. Answering the question what I'm doing is not that easy, because I think my work is really part of my life, and my projects are telling about my life, about others as well. I always see photography as a collaboration. Those relationships are really defining my projects, and if those relationships are changing, I think my projects are changing as well. So for me, let's say a book is not the end, an exhibition is not the end. Like, you have the subject and the photographer, and this is a relationship, but for me the audience is part of it. So it's like a triangle of relationships, really. For me, I'm not really looking for someone to photograph, because that doesn't work. I'm interested in a person. I want to know more about that person, but I think it has to be the other side as well, the other way as well. So it's this moment in time that both people are interested in doing something together. I think I use the camera to understand myself and maybe things around me that are difficult to understand, and also other people that I want to understand. So I try not to judge. Instead of even things I don't agree with, I kind of want to explore, because I want to understand how it works, and often photography is part of that. And at first I think I'm making a story about someone, but actually in the end, or during the project, it's obvious that it's also talking about myself. Actually, most of the time, the people I work with look very different, but then in the end, I realize, oh no, that's really, actually, she or him is pretty close to me, even if we look very different. So I think that's interesting, actually. To find out things about yourself through your work. My first books and my graduating project was going into people's homes or asking people to spend a night in their homes. And this way I photographed in the intimacy of the family. I never had captions. And for me, it was very important for the audience to just interpret the images. And then I did it a last time in Egypt during the revolution. And I worked there for several years, and it was a very intense time, difficult, complex political situation. And it was really difficult to find trust in a place where there seems to be a lot of mistrust. I really felt like an outsider. The place was so complex. I felt like this Western person going into a country that doesn't really want to be photographed. And then I realized I cannot have a book without captions in it anymore. So I canceled the publication, and then after a few months, I thought of the idea, maybe I should go back to Egypt and ask other people that were not in the book to write their thoughts on top of the images. And for me, it was a way to include people who didn't want to be photographed, but also to show more of the complexity of the country, because people started to have conversations on top of the images with each other on topics that were not visible in my photographs. I think it's kind of boring to do always the same because it works once. I think that's how I'm evolving as well. In 2020, I was walking in the streets in Ghent, where I live. Suddenly I saw this astronomer on the side path, and he was looking at the moon through a telescope. And I was looking up myself, and I realized, I never really look up. I didn't feel the need to photograph the stars, but I became very interested in astronomers. I started to meet more astronomers, photograph more, meet people, research the history of astronomy. And only after a while I realized, okay, this is maybe about my past. I'm researching something about my own past. And then I started to link astronomy with memory. I realized that I was researching trauma. Actually, a memory I don't have myself anymore. I didn't know in the beginning, but now I know that this whole project is about the fragility of memory. This is what I'm working on now, which will be a book in October. I hope that with photography I can stay amazed by things, that it will help me to explore and to look accurately. I think it's important for me to keep seeing things from different sides instead of judging. And maybe in the future we'll see. But I don't think I need to stick with photography. I think it's interesting to explore different media as well. So we'll see what the future brings.